order food via Postmates. That was my impression. I was not aware that Postmates was actually a BDSM site teaching you about anal sex. But apparently that is what Postmates is now. So Postmates, in honor of Pride Month, put out a...
We've seen this already. Wait, new HasanAbi video?
Like London? I used to live in London.
Oh, yeah, we got proper kitty, bruv. It was a paying thing.
So we were there during the heat wave.
Okay. Yeah, there's like no AC.
There's no AC.
What
do they? Aircon. There's no aircon, bro.
So it was a little brutal, but also I did have one experience that I fucking loved.
All right.
I went to the Ritz.
Oh, wow, you went to the Ritz? I've never been
And
to
I
the
did
Ritz.
like a 12-course meal. The best part was like the way that they spoke to us. So we ordered a beef Wellington. And the beef Wellington was so good. We're like, get another one. And we call our server over and we're like, hey, we'd love to play something. He's like, sir, I am so sorry. I do not know if we have the resources to do this. Let me check with the chef. And we're like, oh my God, like, we didn't know it was such a big ordeal. And he's like, apologies, gentlemen. The chef simply cannot make another Wellington. There is no way to add another Wellington. And we're like, no, it's fine. And he's like, I am so sorry. I will speak with the chef again. And he leaves and he comes back. He's like, I have checked again. There is no way we can do the Wellington.
He's
and
working for the tip, man.
And we're like, I got, it's okay. You know, we have enough food. Blah, blah.
He comes back. He's like,
10 minutes later, he comes back. He's like, gentlemen. After much conversation,
he's becoming more Japanese now.
He's going to do one more Wellington.
Oh my God!
And he's
just
like,
cheer. You're like, yeah.
He's like,
no.
This
They
is
bring out the
simply
trumpet
unheard of.
like
This is simply unheard of. So when we got that second Wellington, it felt perverse.
Was it good?
This Wellington's not supposed to.
Wait.
Second Wellington is simply unheard of.
That is also on my TikTok. Here it is. Blast off. Blastanox making waves with the TikToks. There you go. Check it out. Go fucking write some funny shit on there. Fear and on YouTube, Connor and Ludwig show up on this ep. Didn't tag Ludwig? Yeah, why the fuck would I, dude? Who's Ludwig? Who wig? Connor's fans are wilding out on his podcast subreddit because of you? Wait, why? What are they saying? Who Omega Lol wig? What are they saying? What's Connor Dog Virginia's subreddit? Sea Dog VA subreddit. That's not it, I don't think. Oh, trash taste? Let's see what normal takes are happening here. $5K upvotes, unexpected collab. 99% Ludwig and Connor will kiss during this episode. You can count on it. Connor also buys the jokes from the nerdy dealer. Nice. Just when we thought the Pokey collab was controversial, here comes Hasan. This is Hasan's podcast, though. Connor should be able to talk to whomever he wants to. However, I don't think the boys would want to put a political streamer on trash taste, especially since Hasan, in my opinion, is too controversial. Wait, what? Motherfucker, y'all watch anime, dog. Y'all watch anime, you fucking weirdos. You like anime. You're a fucking weeb, dog. What do you mean I'm controversial? Your entire existence is questionable. Okay? Motherfucker said, this guy's a brand risk. Dudes with fucking lolly PFPs saying I am a brand risk. Yeah, I got controversial takes. Yeah, that's my thoughts. If Hasan ever came on Trash Taste, it would 1,000,000% skip that episode, and I would reconsider watching Trash Taste going forward. I would watch Trash Taste to get away from politics and drama. Hey, that's good to hear, but I literally had never heard of Firam before today. I don't care for Hasan, so that's just me. I'm not going to support Connor in this. I don't have to consume all of his content. This guy's like fucking so mad. People might not like his opinion, but honestly, yeah, same. I've never seen too many podcasts being ruined. I've seen one too many podcasts being ruined by politics. Motherfucker said, yo, he's acting like Connor is his boyfriend, dude. Check his post history. I have a theory. What? Oh, dude. Oh, dude. He's like posting old clips of me and shit. Yeah. Oh, man. That's so sad, dude. He likes Warhammer and is definitely not racist. What am I doing right now? I'm like looking at some fucking random dickheads. Comments. His like schizo his effort posts on Warhammer 40K subreddits and shit. Yeah, even people on the left like me don't really like him. Superficially speaking, all I know from him is that he just creates Twitch drama that seeps into Twitter, and that's saying something if that's what a lot of people think about him, even on the most superficial level. I love when motherfuckers are like, bro, I don't know anything about this guy. I just hate him because other people have like, other deranged hate watchers have guided my perspective. I love that. His hate comment is actually funny. I'd say the biggest reason why I dislike him is because I'm forced to constantly listen to him because my brother watches him on TV and we're in the same room. I don't really like loud, opinionated people when it comes to political stuff also. I will say there are things he says that I do agree with, but then he says something that makes me go, huh, which leads to him yelling at chat for 5 minutes spewing insults. I'm guessing he's playing it up. At least I hope he is. But it's not my cup of tea for entertainment or news. I don't get that far into detail because it's very political and it's trash taste sub, but those are a few reasons why I don't like this guy. Hey, shouts out to Yellow 8's brother. You know what I'm saying? King. Whenever a motherfucker says, I don't know a lot about him, get ready for the most unhinged takes, okay? Whenever someone says, I don't know a lot about him, especially on Reddit, that's the result of high androgen levels from steroids. Yeah. Why do they get mad at Pokimane being on Trash Taste? Pokimane is unironically one of the least controversial fucking figures you can ever find on the internet. Like, she very deliberately and very carefully is not, like, she's just not controversial in any meaningful capacity. It makes no sense. It's just because she's a woman. There's no other reason. I'm sorry. There's no other fucking reason to hate on Pokimane this much. Like, there are controversial female content creators out there that say crazy shit, right? I couldn't name any of them because, you know, I don't really watch any content creators. Let's be real. Like Candace Owens, I guess. That's the every content creator I know is political. It's just so sad. I was thinking, like, can I give a content creator that I know in the space or whatever? And I literally can't. It's just all fucking every single one of them is political. God damn it, my brain is so broken. He said Amy Goodman. Yeah, Amy Goodman. Very controversial. All right, we got another Button episode. Folks, the Button is back. Kanye West full interviews out there, but I'm probably going to skip it because, you know, kind of boring. Here's a thread. The best Yelp reviews of Hasan's Sloppy Steakhouse. Kaylee, Yeah, I guess Kaylee's kind of controversial, but she doesn't do anything that like any male content creator would easily get away with. Like everything that Kaylee does, male content creators do on a regular basis in infinitely worse ways and never get any kind of fucking pushback on. So even that, like I was thinking about Kaylee as a controversial female content creator, but like not really. Like she doesn't do anything that crazy. Except for the Kirby cock and balls. That was fucking nasty, dude. Holy shit, I saw that. When I see stuff like that, it's so hard for me not to respond. Oh, Corinna. Yeah, Kaylee posted Kirby cock and balls. It was wild. It was exactly like you, but you didn't listen. You didn't listen to Kanye's interview. The Hassier community is disappointed and felt betrayed by you. How dare you? Kanye is good. Kanye is the GOAT. He was exactly like you, but you didn't listen. NASA, by the way, is about to hit an asteroid, right? Just to test out whether they can hit asteroids or not, which is kind of sus. Like, they mentioned time and time again, like, hey, guys, this asteroid, not on its way to Earth. Don't worry, which is fine. But why the fuck are they training to hit asteroids? You know what I mean?
We are waiting for confirmation of precision lock.
Like, what the fuck do they know?
MSC, this is SN5.
Go ahead, SN5.
We are precision locked and still tracking Dimorphos.
Yes.
Nerds.
Woo!
We are soon going to hear again from Elena Adams.
This is great. This is Dart MSC on DT Mach. So this was our last milestone. At this point, we're going to be working towards Dimorphos. I expect we're going to do some burns. We're about 4,500 miles away from Didymos and Dimorphos. So
Hey, NASA, how about y'all figure out how to fucking not stream in 1P, okay? That's my fucking take on NASA, okay? They need to figure it the fuck out, dude. What is this shit? I can't even see the fucking nerds celebrating.
Locked, a lot of applause. Things are looking good. And we are now headed for the moment of truth. How are you holding up?
Oh, I'm doing great. The team's been doing great. The spacecraft's doing great. It's this precision lock, is absolute milestone for the terminal phase here. We've got a good signature on Dimorphos, so the spacecraft has what it needs to guide itself in for the impact here in 17, almost 18 minutes. So we're doing great.
Yep, so close. Very exciting moments ahead. Now, we can't say this enough, and I know you've said it so many times, but it's worth repeating for viewers that Dimorphos is not a threat to Earth, nor will it be after impact, right?
No, that's right. This asteroid system is still almost 7 million miles away from the Earth. It's at its closest point in the orbit right now to Earth. So from this point forward, it's going to be moving away from Earth. So there's no chance of anything here. We've got to look for all the other unknown asteroids out there still.
Guys, stop worrying about other asteroids. I promise, there's no other asteroids, okay? Just listen to my words saying that there are no other asteroids.
Back to you, Tahira.
All right, thanks, Samson. It is amazing to know that we have a precision lock on target Dimorphos. Now, we have a fun way for you to join our mission, and it is by signing up to be a planetary defender. Visit bity.com/planetary defender.
What?
Take the quiz and receive a certificate like this one. Now, once it's official, show us on social media using the hashtag planetary defender.
Dog, they're conscripting us by debating us at the top of the fucking hour. And instead of a 60-second ad break, boom, blammo, all of a sudden, you're literally a part of the planetary defense squad. for the upcoming alien invasion. What do they know? Well, aliens, of course, know that at the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. They also know that you can get gifted a sub if you're lucky. That's how you defend yourself against the alien invaders of advertisement. The 1-minute ad break at the top of the hour. Here's the 1-minute ad break now. Least annoying vegan. Thank you for the 5. Get the subs. This guy looks like Prince Charles. Anyway, yeah, aliens have not been able to perfect anti-ad tech. Twitch engineers are working round the clock for that shit, brother. You know what I'm saying? I failed the planetary defense quiz, Sag. They really do stream in 1p? Yeah.
This is what we will be using to study Didymos and Dimorphos in the days and weeks after DART impact. The DART spacecraft will be hitting an asteroid called Dimorphos. It's special because it's a binary asteroid, which means a satellite around a larger asteroid called Didymos. And DART will actually be hitting Dimorphos. And what we will be measuring is how much DART changes the orbit of Dimorphos around Didymos. So this is an important test for...
Wait, so we're not even hitting the big one? We're not even hitting the big kahuna. We're hitting the little one.
The Lowell Discovery Telescope is one of many telescopes around the world which will be used to study Didymos and Dimorphos. It's really a global coordinated effort. And what we're looking at here is a large 4.3 meter primary mirror that's in the middle of the telescope tube here. Up at the top is a secondary mirror. The secondary mirror up top there is what is focusing the light down onto the instruments and allows us to take images with the camera that's located down at the bottom. This is maybe one of my favorite hidden rooms at the telescope.
For the record, for those of you who are just tuning in, NASA is currently trying DART, Double Asteroid Redirect Test. So what their goal with this is to send a fucking asteroid. There's asteroids that are not actually projected to hit Earth at all, but they're testing out a satellite that they're launching towards the little asteroid, following the larger asteroid, to see if they can redirect it. Now, they've also maintained the position that these asteroids are definitely not going to hit Earth. They would destroy the planet if they were to hit Earth. Now, they also keep saying there's no other asteroids that are going to hit Earth. We're just trying. We're just testing it out. We're testing out what we can do about changing the trajectory of asteroids that may in the future be coming towards Earth. That's what they keep saying.
And looking at how that brightness changes. And those dips in brightness allow us to measure when...
What if they hit the fucking thing and then actually its trajectory changes and it's now actually coming towards Earth? That's what I'm afraid of.
This field is Didymos and Dimorphos.
These fucking nerds, have they mathematician that out?
Points of light, but we have...
Where's Astro Tiggs when you need him? Where the fuck are you? We have a literal PhD in here that specifically studies this shit. Huh? Where are you, Astro Tiggs? Answer. Answer for the crimes of other nerds that do the same shit that you do. Answer us right now. We want answers, motherfucker. That's the biggest L in history. Yeah, I think they accounted for that possibility. The ones that worry about come out from the same angle as the light of the sun, and there's fuck all we can do about that. Dude, shut up. Don't say that. I don't want to even think about that. Astro Tiggs, surprisingly not in the chat today. He's in the chat every fucking day. Surprisingly not in the chat today. The one day where we're looking at asteroid trajectory. Very interesting. I will make note of this.
Is just minutes away from making history. A truly global effort. This mission has brought together people from around the world, united under one goal: to find a way to protect humanity from a hazardous asteroid if one were ever discovered. Now, usually NASA spacecraft are...
No! You said the only asteroid we have to worry about is Apophis in around 2034? What the fuck? So there is one! No! There is one then. We got the certificate and Haas scored. This certifies that Murat the better pilot. No! You signed my brother up! What have you done? What if aliens attack and I'm like, yo, we're out of here? Like, I want to put him on the billionaire asteroid evasion spaceship because, you know, we have a secret club of like the mega wealthy, you know, the wealthiest people on the planet, me, myself included, the $3 billion homeowner. And I want to put Murat in there and they're like, sorry, it says that Murat is on a list. Murat the better piker, it says, is on the asteroid defense brigade, the alien defense squad, because he became a planetary defender. And I'm like, no, Murat, come with me. And then they're like, nope, sorry. He has to go defend. He has to go defend the country. And then it's like, no. And then I get on the ship anyway. And it's like hors d'oeuvres. What the fuck? Oh, this is not the actual.
Final 10 minutes. We are almost there.
While you were just in the thick of it with the team up until a few minutes ago, what is the atmosphere like in there? I can only imagine.
It's really, it's great. I mean, they're excited. Every time there's a marker that we meet a milestone, everyone is cheering and very excited. But there's also almost a sense of
Demon Stasis, thank you for the 5. Get the subs, by the way.
With every milestone, everything's going, you know, as planned. We're found.
I love
and
hearing
locked
that.
on the target as planned, pretty much at the right time. They're looking at the brightness and the reflectivity of the object, and it's more or less what they expected. Everything is performing as expected, and so there's a lot of cheering and happiness, but just kind of a sense, hey, you know, we've been planning for this a long time, and we've got it.
We've got this. We've been planning for this. We can hear applause left and right throughout this evening, all good signs. What are they focused on at this critical juncture, Lori? It is basically years of planning, 10 months of making sure we get to this point after launch, and they've been juggling a lot. Is there anything in particular that they are glued on as we enter this moment of truth?
Yeah, so the main thing they've been watching is, you know, getting to that point where we could do the precision lock, where we had good enough signal coming back and enough confidence in where we are relative to Dimorphos that we could really do that precision lock onto the target. And it's hands off now, right? We're not, you know, the spacecraft is going to drive itself, and really focused on that, you know, that point where they could be precision locked. And they're also thinking about looking at and reassessing continuously what's the probability of miss, right? As you get closer and closer, that probability should get smaller and smaller, and it is. It's getting, it looks really, really good right now.
Well, it sounds like the game of thinking of
No, they put me and Austin in the planetary defense squad against our will.
So they can do a lot of great up into this
My
point.
Discord signed us up.
Through to these last few minutes. Well, and in a few minutes, speaking of that, all the years of thinking, of doing, planning, reacting is finally coming to an end. From 5 minutes to impact, there will be no more opportunity
Take Austin, not me.
commands to SmartNav in the Mission Operations Center. The team will be purely spectators, the data coming in, and they are just waiting it out like the rest of us.
You know what I realized? You're exactly like one of those theater kids you make fun of so much. Your RP's very entertaining, but also means you're a nerd. Shut up. That's not true. I'm so fucking cool, dude. I'm not even remotely a theater nerd, okay?
I'm really excited about it, and I've been engaged with this mission for, you know, the last 4.5 years that I've been in my current role. But this team has been working so hard on this for so many years, and they've put so much of their energy and their time into this, and so much planning and rehearsing, and you know, it's a really big event for them.
Don't miss the asteroid if Austin is guiding it. How dare you? Austin is actually a wonderful pilot. He's just dog shit at driving.
Yeah, I've got
If we were driving towards the asteroid, no fucking way would we actually hit that thing. But if we're flying towards it, I think he can nail it. Boom, directly, right in the middle of the kisser.
To this point, I can only imagine what they're feeling. Perhaps, like you said, a little bit of relief, a little bit of, can I let this go? I have worked for this moment so long, and now we can no longer do anything. That moment is just coming up.
Yeah, but I think they're ready. I think they're they're at that point. You know, you're getting some shots.
We
of
found how
Elena
NASA
Adams,
streams the TV.
systems engineer, and you can see the excitement in her voice. She's so ready to show the success of this mission.
Brother, they have satellite coverage, and their satellites are dog shit because they're too busy launching them at fucking asteroids, man. That's why.
Fate. This is blockbuster stuff, Lori.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. We are there. Yeah.
And I have front row tickets, and we are very soon about to open up these airwaves in the Mission Operations Center. We'll stay plugged in all the way through impact. Remember, at this point, 5 minutes out, no more commands to SmartNav will be possible. The team is watching it just like you and me and the rest of us. All right, we've reached 5 minutes from impact. The final command opportunity to SmartNav has passed, and the team is simply watching that data stream in just like we are. Also remember, there is a 38-second lag for the data to travel to Earth, and also an additional few more seconds for image processing. It's important to note that. You should be hearing the chatter in the Mission Operations Center momentarily.
This is Dart MSC on DT Mach. 5 minutes till impact. 5 minutes till impact. We are at 1,100 miles away. Also, our window for sending any commands to the spacecraft is done. Contingency's done.
This is a great vibe in that Mission Operations Center right now, Lori.
It really is. They are so excited.
Why don't they just set the satellite to low latency
I'm
mode?
looking at these images as we get closer and closer, and you look at Didymos, and just you're starting to see this physical body appear.
Can
there.
you?
It's incredible.
I don't feel that way at all.
I'm still having a hard time believing this is real imagery coming in near real time.
Yeah. Yeah, but you've been watching it over the last, 30, 45 minutes go from just being a collection of individual pixels, and now you can actually see the shape and the shading.
Wait,
and texture
when it
of
actually hits, are we going to
We're
see
gonna
like
see
the
that
crust
same
of
thing
the
with
fucking
Dynamics as we
asteroid?
get closer and closer. This is so cool.
Because that's pretty sick.
Never before seen images of Dimorphos will come into stark relief.
Absolutely.
A few seconds before impact.
Didymos. It's amazing. All right.
The team is standing
Like the
just
moment, right
recognizing
before the
this
moment of impact.
Years in the making. It is really nice to see them relax a little bit, get off from those computers that they've been glued to, and just appreciate this moment that's coming.
Yeah, and they've earned this. It's just great to see them there. This is so cool.
Lori, we hit another major milestone. We are now 2.5 minutes from impact, and SmartNav has stopped maneuvering the spacecraft. DART is now coasting toward Dimorphos, and we hope into the history books.
Absolutely. This will be, I'm sure you've heard it many times tonight, humanity's first ever attempt at trying to move another celestial body, and also our first attempt ever to execute a mission.
Overall, this is a very important experiment, as there are not many methods to redirect asteroids. There's a weirder method like painting the asteroid black.
Yeah, and I'm starting
asteroid
to see
ends up
Dimorphos
absorbing more heat and radiating it away, slightly shifting its orbit.
I'm starting to see individual boulders on Didymos. Unbelievable.
Did you guys hear that?
Unbelievable clarity of
Apparently,
images there.
one of the experiments is potentially painting the asteroid black. I don't even know if this can, I mean, this will knock it off of its trajectory. However, how much will it knock it off of its trajectory? That sounds fake as fuck. No, I don't believe that Astro Tiggs who is literally a fucking astrophysics physicist, PhD, would be just simply lying in the chat about
14,000 miles per hour, and remember,
this will knock it on path to destroy the moon. Wait, what? Shut up. This is not going towards the moon. You just made that up.
Space, and now you can see us zeroing in right on target.
And we're now dropping the clock, and we'll go by loss of signal to.
Oh my god, it's happening.
Right.
It's passing by. It's passing the big one,
We'll get that loss
and it's
of
going
signal
towards the
we'll
little
hear
one.
from
It's
Lena
passing the
Evans
big
again,
one.
letting us know.
Brace for impact.
I feel like we'll know. I feel like that'll be a crystal clear signal.
What if it misses?
I think we're starting to see more.
Bro, what if it's a fucking whiff, dude? How big is this thing? How big is this thing? How big is it, like, size-wise? Someone in the chat, tell me how big this fucking asteroid is.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
Looks like control system settling down.
Like, what is it, like the size of the moon or whatever?
We're going to get the investigation team some good pictures.
Wow.
No, come on, we can do better than that.
Yeah, I'm not seeing enough movement from NASA.
Shadows of the various rocks on the surface.
It's always so funny. There's always like a cool, hot NASA person, and then they like fucking blow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Looks to me like we're headed straight in.
Ah! 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 It's getting closer!
Oh,
That's fucking nuts. You can see the crust of it. What if there's an alien on it, dude?
Yeah.
What if there's an alien doing the Come to Brazil dance right now on it?
Oh, wow.
Awaiting visual confirmation.
Dude!
All right.
Impact!
Let's see. We got it? Waiting.
Come to Brazil!
A triumph for humanity in the name of planetary defense.
Woo. Fantastic. Oh, fantastic.
Bro, you work for years and years and years on like this fucking project, okay? And then when the moment comes, you don't have like a cool ass fucking way to celebrate. You did the wackest high five, brother. You knew this moment was coming, and that's the high five you got?
Amazing.
What a team. What a team and what an
God, these guys are such real nerds, man. Holy shit.
Dress rehearsal. They were getting emotional at the dress rehearsal. They're like, this is crazy. We're getting emotional. This is not the real thing. I can only imagine what they are feeling right now.
Yes.
Bro,
Well, you can see
imagine if dinosaurs had this shit, dog. That's right. That's right. And now they're just chicken nuggets. You know what I'm saying? Remember that. Humans, baby. Humans won. Universe zero.
Hard work and the weight of expectation lifted off their shoulders. This is amazing.
Get fucked, dinos.
This is beautiful. And Lori, really,
This is so
a
sick.
Huge moment for the mission. Lots more work needs to happen in the days, weeks, months.
Absolutely. Now, as I always say, it's one of my favorite missions. Now is when the science starts. It just starts now. Now that we've impacted, now we're going to see for real how effective we were. We're going to train all of those ground-based telescopes on the Didymos Dimorphos system, and we're going to make measurements that will help us determine just what its orbit looks like now relative to what it was before. So it's going to be great. Very cool.
All right, this is when science, engineering, and a great purpose, planetary defense, come together, and it makes a magical moment like this.
Yeah.
That was fire.
Absolutely, and you can see so many people there that have
That was
made
fire.
this happen. The team of APL engineers that have really poured their souls into this mission.
Lori, any last words to mark this historic moment?
Oh. We're embarking on a new era of humankind, an era in which we potentially have the capability to protect ourselves from something like a dangerous.
Next is when they find out that it's now heading towards us. No,
What an
that's not going to
amazing thing. We've
happen.
never
I
had
hope.
that capability before.
Thank you so much, Lori. Those are poignant.
I actually have
last
no
words.
idea to know if that's true or not.
History has been made. Back to you.
The engineers telling their boss that they.
I mean, what an exciting day for the Dart team. And in
A second asteroid is headed towards the Pentagon, sir. Literally watching Space 9/11 and you're laughing. Despicable, to be honest. I mean, yeah. We had to take the brave asteroid out of the trajectory.
Planning for this moment. We've been talking about it for years. At APL here, we've been working on this since 2015. And I knew, I've been talking, this is the images that we're going to see, and they're going to be spectacular. And I think even then they exceeded my expectations.
Astrotig says the asteroid is 170 meters across. It's also the satellite of an even bigger asteroid, 760 meters across. Where was it headed towards? Like, obviously not Earth, but where the fuck was it going? Also, what is that in freedom numbers? Get no scoped, bitch. Orbiting the sun, being no danger to nobody. Dude, imagine we fuck that asteroid up, it hits the sun, and then the sun gets angry and then sends an asteroid our way. Sends a fucking sun asteroid our way. Holy shit, dude. Check out Apophis in 2029. Wait, what do you mean? What the fuck is this? It's just orbiting around the sun, right? Where's Earth, though? Oh, is the blue one Earth? Oh, shit! Is the blue one Earth? Oh, that's a near miss. Oh, that's another near miss. Uh-oh. Too close to comfort. Oh, it's coming up. Wait, oh, it hit it? Oh! It did. Apophis is a 1 in 380,000 chance of impacting Earth by 2068. Why not just nuke it? Why not send a team of coal miners and oil frackers to go up to the asteroid and put a nuclear bomb inside of it? That's the real question. I mean, I feel like I've heard that happen before, right? And certainly not astronauts, okay? Because those guys are whack. What the fuck would they know about oil fracking and coal mining? Which would be significantly harder to learn than motherfucking astronauts, okay? Oil drilling. A highly technical, specialized field that astronauts somehow cannot learn about.
Scientists around the world are ready to study the, what did we do to Dimorphos? But more importantly, what does that mean for potentially applying this in the future? I mean, DART really is just the start. It's just the first planetary defense test mission. It was spectacular, and it's accomplished, and we'll figure out how effective it was. That's really what we're going to learn.
My dad worked on DART when they made impact. I texted him, wow, they crashed it sad. He replied, women drivers? Wow. More sexism in NASA. Canceled, sweaty. I'm not an expert, but I feel like at least a kilometers across. I don't think it's large enough to do like what the dinosaur one did, which was a mile across, miles across if I remember correctly. Plus, a lot of it will burn off in the atmosphere.
Team on crossing the finish line. So congratulations. And with that, here's my question. Now that DART has impacted, how will you know if the spacecraft has actually changed the asteroid's orbit?
Math, right?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a double asteroid system. So all we've done here actually is change slightly how Dimorphos goes around Didymos, right? And the telescopes on the Earth have studied this for years. So we knew it used to be 11 hours and 55 minutes. What is it going to be now? And so the telescopes are going to measure that period change. And they're so good at this. They've done it for decades already.
Yo, what if we disrupted something delicate here, by the way?
When we have it, we're going to be sure to share it with everybody.
I'm not even kidding. Like, what if we just what if we knocked it out of the park and it just it's now actually changed its trajectory and it's now heading towards Earth. It's pissed off. Space isn't that delicate, brother. Yeah, well, what if we made the aliens mad?
Hey, congratulations. Boy, the Dart team, you really did this one very well. It's been a successful completion of the first
Bro, this guy is already a fossilized astronaut. I mean, a fossilized fucking asteroid himself.
And there were years of hard work.
It's so funny that Murat, by the way, the better piker, does this exact same thing every day. Like, in that exact same gear, in an exact similar fucking room, working on, ironically, identical fucking satellites like that. That's what Murat does every day.
Tell us about the changes in this asteroid's orbit. So thank you to this international team. We are showing that planetary defense is a global endeavor, and it is very possible to save our planet.
What do you mean?
All right.
Yeah, he didn't believe that.
Eloquently put, Administrator Nelson.
Yeah, what about, hey, Nelson, what about climate change, dog?
APL Director Ralph Semmel.
Save our planet from what? Save our planet from what? Leaked! Save our planet from what, motherfucker? You can't say save our planet and leave it. He just kept us hanging. Save our planet from what? Save it from what, Nelson?
And that there was no question there was going to be an impact. And to see the team overjoyed with their...
He knows something we don't know, bro.
What does this mean for NASA? What does this mean for planetary defense?
Well, NASA works for the benefit of humanity. So for us, it's the ultimate fulfillment of our mission to do something like this, a technology demonstration that, who knows, someday could save our home.
Very powerful. Thank you, Pam. Ralph, you were in that mock for the moment of impact. We've seen a lot of major milestones in APL's history in space. We're talking the first flyby of Pluto, the first mission to orbit Mercury, and now the first spacecraft to impact an asteroid. What was the moment like for you in there?
It was incredible to see how so many years of hard work and creativity resulted in a direct hit of Dimorphos was just an adrenaline rush. I'll add that I've been at the lab now for quite a few years, and I've been involved in a lot of missions and achievements. And
I texted Murat. I watched that Dart shit. Boeing should have gotten that gig. They know how to crush flying objects better than anyone.
Stop.
Ralph, I'm going to give you both a treat right now. We're going to play that replay of impact on our screens right now so we can enjoy it again.
Yeah, let's watch it again. That shit was fire. That shit was actually fire.
What does this achievement mean for Johns Hopkins APL? Huge, right?
Okay, that's kind of far though, bro. Come on, speed it up.
And in fact, if you'll excuse the pun-like statement here, the impact on APL, as it was on Dimorphos, is immense. This is exactly the kind of mission that APL seeks to do, a never-before-done mission. I'd like to thank NASA for entrusting us with this mission, and I'd like to tell everyone how proud I am of the entire DART team and APL for this game-changing achievement.
Incredible. Thank you, Ralph. And we're watching that replay right now on our screens and just admiring that remarkable achievement once again.
He got hit with the spirit of red communism right there immediately.
We're just tiny blobs of light, and now they are
Who
real
was in the
objects to us, which
spacecraft?
is amazing.
Bruce Willis, I heard. He was flying it. R.I.P. to Bruce Willis.
That is amazing.
Bro, there's an alien right there.
The second and third time.
There's that drop off, knowing we made it.
We got an escape ship already.
Fantastic.
A Hostwit asteroid
Well, there
evasion
you have
space.
it. A lot of pride here tonight, along with the promise of big things to come.
Yeah, I'm
And
gonna
with the
keep it real,
successful
dog.
impact,
Nobody's
that will
making
do
it
For
out.
us today at the Mission Operations Center. Back to you, Tahira.
Nobody's
Amazing.
making it out.
I mean, today is a fantastic day. And DART
One
is
of my
just the
faves just
beginning of a
retweeted you, and
global
he's right.
planetary defense effort. In 2024,
The dinosaurs
the
didn't
European
want it
Space
bad enough. No
Agency's
hustle,
Hera
no
mission
grit.
will conduct follow-up observations of asteroid Dimorphos and measure in great detail DART's kinetic impactor tests. Let's take a look.
Oh my God.
The DART impact is going to be an incredible moment, something we've been looking for over 17 years.
Phase Favre.
My name is Jan Carnelli, and I'm leading the Hera mission for the European Space Agency.
Phase Favre, dude.
The deflection by DART will be measurable from ground with telescopes. However, only with Hera coming up close and inspecting the asteroid will unveil
This one's for
all
the
of those
dinosaurs.
parameters that will allow us to plan for a deflection
Looking for trouble
mission
out in
one
the
day
asteroid
within
belt. Come at
This
me.
is the propulsion module of the Hera spacecraft that will take us to asteroid Dimorphos and will allow us to study the results of the DART impact. The propulsion module is being built here in Italy and then will be sent to Germany, where it will be mated with the instruments and the rest of the spacecraft to be ready for launch in October 2024.
We started designing and conceiving the whole mission and the spacecraft about 2 years ago, and we have a launch date to meet that is a fixed date in October 2024. So it's challenging, but we're making it possible. You could say that Hera is really 3 space missions in one. We have one, the main spacecraft that we are currently building at OHB in Germany, but we also have 2 smaller missions that are spacecraft in their own right. Those are the 2 CubeSats, Juventus and Milani.
The CubeSats
Hey, yo,
are working
asteroid,
on
get
is
your
Milani,
boy.
which will perform spectral measurements and dust detection following the DART impact.
Good job, chat. We crashed a website for planetary defenders. That or the aliens have begun their retaliation. Are you serious? Come on, dude. Motherfuckers can't have fun ever, dude. You just DDoS the fucking planetary defense sign-up list. That was our last defense, chat. Not the Space Force. Phase Welfare King. MAGA Communism TV. It's fine. Their YouTube live stream has 200K viewers. I don't think that was us, lol. Oh, okay. Never mind then. Yeah. I thought, because I just saw their Twitch stream, which was a big L. They had like 30K at their peak. Yeah, 5K during impact. Nice. Cost of doing business. My man hasn't done anything in a while. I don't know what this is about, but
say for the sake of argument, there's this, call him a provocateur, a conservative who makes his living off being a public figure, saying scandalously evil things in public because controversy equals attention, and attention equals brand recognition. He gets his writing gigs and interviews and guest spots, sometimes because people agree with the awful things he says. More often it's because he gets views. His economy runs on engagement, and hate clicks are still clicks. One revenue stream is speaking engagements, the college campus circuit. Fans at, let's say, UC Emeryville, invite him as a guest lecturer. But UCE is broadly a progressive campus, which means his presence there would likely provoke a lot of outrage, maybe even a protest. And a protest would be pretty flippin' sweet. Protest means local news coverage, maybe more than local. Hell, the conservative media machine loves taking stories like this and blowing them up to national importance.
Including Bill Maher, by the way.
If he plays his cards right, he could get his words in front of millions of people instead of just the student.
Why don't you say or post anything about what's happening in Iran? I'm just trying to keep it a secret. That's why I covered it like numerous times on different broadcasts. But you just exposed me for trying to keep it a secret.
Body of UCM.
People that want me to talk about Iran, like, do you expect me to cover it literally 24/7? Like, I don't understand. I'm a broadcaster. I cover a broad variety of news, right? Iran being, of course, an incredibly important news story, which I have given adequate coverage to. I don't get it.
Of course, he's gonna take that gig. But the progressive students at UCE are wise to his tricks. They've seen him pull this stunt at other UCs, Stockton, Bakersfield, Vacaville. So they make the decision, we're not gonna protest. We're just gonna let him speak. Let the boy stamp his feet, and in a month, no one will even remember he was here. As the date approaches and the provocateur sees he's not getting the response he wants, he starts hinting things on social media, trying to bait a reaction.
It does fit your anti-Kurd agenda, lol. What? Brother, not only am I like a secular Turk, I'm a very progressive person. What the fuck? That's crazy.
Psst, hey. I'm going to make jokes about the Holocaust. I'm going to say Americans treated their slaves well. Nothing. So he ups the ante, makes it personal. I'm going to put up pre-transition photos of your trans students. I'm going to out the queer students I've seen on Grindr. I'm going to name which of your students I think are illegal immigrants.
Milo Yiannopoulos did all of these things, okay, back in the day. He is describing what Innuendo Studios is doing here is precisely what Milo Yiannopoulos did, by the way. He did all of those things.
Student body's like, bro, do your worst. Nobody's falling for it, until one student's like, hold up. He's gonna dox immigrants in front of his audience of white nationalist gun nuts, and we're just gonna let him? You know some of his fans were in Charlottesville, right? What we're seeing here is a game of chicken between one group of white conservative reactionaries and one group of, let's be honest, mostly white liberals, for whom the stakes are who gets paid attention to. The provocateur doesn't have the ammunition nor the optics to attack privileged liberals directly, so he pokes and prods at various social minorities whom privileged liberals are supposed to care about, until he gets a reaction. Going after people of color is a pure Xanatos gambit for his fans. Either they get a protest and a national audience hears their reactionary rhetoric, or there's no protest and they get to fuck with some immigrants. And because white liberals are largely ignorant to the threat posed to those immigrants, white liberals are not great at assessing the full scope of the danger. Often enough, this remains to them an argument about ideas and principles. To them, they are but words. Until someone gets hit by a car or shot, and then it's who could have predicted? The provocateur's animating force is not hatred of people of color. It's hatred of white liberals, just as white liberals' animating force is less advocacy for people of color than moral victory over conservatives. Neither side acknowledges people of color as entities in this fight. They're viewed as tools for getting white people what they want, and their suffering is viewed as an acceptable byproduct. You've maybe heard the phrase, in the game of patriarchy, women are not the opposing team, they are the ball. Well, in the game of imperialist, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy, minorities are not the opposing team. They are the cars, store windows, and newspaper kiosks that get wrecked when the home team loses. Or when the home team wins. It's the Eagles fan view of oppression. And make no mistake,
damn,
weaponizing or disregarding students of color is still racism. But it's racism of a kind most white people have trouble recognizing, or to speak with a sharper edge, that white people often refuse to acknowledge. From the white provocateur who does not hate minorities directly, but is willing...
Come on, Eagles fans. Don't act like... So there's unironic Eagles fans going, come on, why are we catching strays? Bro, you eat horse manure when you win. Once you do that, it's over. Okay? Once one Eagles fan, one singular Eagle, decides to eat horse manure as a victory for winning the Super Bowl, like to celebrate a Super Bowl victory, is done. The entire fucking nation state of Philadelphia, which, yes, I called it a nation state on purpose, is now in perpetuity recognized as the caca eaters, okay?
To utilize the hatred of others to get what he wants from some white people who says, I will hurt them a lot just to hurt you a little, to the white liberal who does mental gymnastics to not come out and say, that is a black and brown sacrifice I'm willing to make. Racism is not always a passion, but it is tolerable, usable, easy to disregard. In a white supremacist world, it is the cost of doing business. Let me make it clear. Nothing about this is okay. Now, the weaponizing of minority suffering is employed against many minoritized groups. I could be making this video about transphobia or homophobia, and while many details would differ, I wouldn't even have to change my intro. Samuel R. Delaney, take a shot, argues that misogyny is the oldest bigotry, and therefore the model on which all other bigotries are based. I'm focusing on institutional racism as my chief example, first because this is America and the cup runneth over. Second, because in the 2016 election, the greatest indicator a person was going to vote Republican more strongly correlated than being registered as a Republican was racist sentiments. And third, because racism is a fundamental building block of fascism and a primary means of sowing discord on the left. But we'll get to that. I am going to curb my reflex to make every alt-right playbook some kind of definitive statement. I do not have the last word on American racism. If you want to hear about American racism from the people who experience it, here's a book. Here's 5 books. What I bring to the table is, I have at this point several decades experience being white, and in trying to explicate white supremacy, it is sometimes worthwhile to look at it from the inside. So my focus will be,
you do not need to post that.
What does whiteness mean to white people? American racial discourse has 4 principal...
Bro, you do not need... Dude, you are hindering your cause, man. God damn. You don't need to do that.
White characters. On the far right end, you've got the guy white people picture when they hear the word racist. Your Klansman, your neo-Nazi, your suit and tie ethno-nationalist. This guy knows he's a racist, and he's proud of it. Next to the white supremacist, you've got the white collaborator. The politician, public figure, or businessman who does not agree with the white supremacist on paper.
I can't get over the fact that every bread tuber has to look that way. Like, is there a law? Is there a fucking rule, like in the rule book? I'm going to move on. They make great videos. They're awesome.
But will seek out their votes, attention, or money.
Says you, lol. Yeah, no, me. Very similar. You're right.
The collaborator, you've got the white moderate. People who ostensibly believe in racial justice as an end goal and are somewhat committed to bringing it about, but only with the cooperation of the white collaborator. It wouldn't be fair to do it without their consent, you see, and thus the white moderate spends a lot less time opposing collaborators than appealing to their better natures. They tend to operate on behalf of people of color rather than with them. Plainly put, the cost of doing business maneuver is this group using this group to attack this group, using people of color as their weapon of choice. It is white supremacy in the form of 3 groups of white people fighting amongst themselves. Finally, on the far opposite end, you have the honest-to-goodness anti-racist, where the racist will support white supremacy, the collaborator uphold white supremacy, and the moderate seek to reform white supremacy. Only the anti-racist is trying to get rid of it. And even they are not free from racial bias. And if you tell one of them, you are not free from racial bias, it's not guaranteed they will react well. It's just, if you're trying to fight white supremacy, they're the white folks you have the best odds with. Now, this little chorus line is not how white people typically frame the situation. We usually think of racism as a binary. There are racists, and there are non-racists. In that framing, the provocateur is someone whose allegiance we get to debate. He willingly sacrifices people of color, but without personally hating them. Does that count as #racism? This debate lasts approximately the rest of your goddamn life, which should be evidence enough that the frame is wanting. In today's framing, there are several shades of racism, and there is anti-racism. There is no non. Now, before we map the choreography of how these four types interact, first, a quick note on how most white people think about whiteness. Short answer, whenever possible, they prefer not to.
Whiteness in America. Is it vanilla? No. It's fior di latte. Nothing but milk and sugar. When non-whites are flavors, we are the base. In the same way one does not hear one's own accent. British people have accents.
That's not a lot of pots.
But we just speak English normal-like.
That's not a lot of pots.
If you have not built your whole identity around being white, you probably don't think about your whiteness very often, and perhaps even feel uncomfortable when one points it out. For it is the white experience to passively, unconsciously, conceive of oneself as a kind of raceless default. This is privilege.
That's why it's political. When there's a non-white actor playing a role that's traditionally given to white actors, that's, and you can pick and choose the different forms of identity there. It's not just, it doesn't extend to just like black people or anything like that.
Indeed, this is part of what makes privilege privilege.
They're woke.
It's the identity that's treated as a norm, the one you don't have to think about. A movie with an all-white cast is widely perceived as being in no way about race. But that's not true of one with an all-black cast. Identities being treated as defaults makes institutional racism difficult to understand even for well-meaning white people. How can I be racist?
Intelligent viewer, Hasan profiting off of racism every day and buys $1 million homes, multiple. One in this chatter's head. Specifically, he's probably going to ban me because I'm the only real one in the chat. No, I will not ban you. You are my pet now. I will pet you instead.
If I don't identify as a racist, how could I be part of a group I never opted into? But let us reflect. Would a group one never opted into not describe a minority? People don't choose to be gay, and while people also don't choose to be straight, being straight is normal. People don't come out as straight or have complex codes for signaling heterosexuality. Not that they'll admit to, at least.
Listen, brother, that's the future that you're looking down at. You're staring at the barrel of a gun, brother. We're gonna have to fucking signal to everybody that we're straight in the future.
In lieu of other evidence, straightness is presumed. But if people clock you as gay, or even think they've clocked you as gay, then you stand out from the background. It makes you more visible, where the appearance of straightness makes you less so. Makes you the everyman. Of the many identities one may have at any given time on any given axis, there is typically only one default, whose rules operate differently to the rest. The more of these normal identities one possesses, the more accustomed one is to being the default. The idea is foreign that people might group one not by how one thinks of oneself, but by how one is perceived, and by how one impacts others.
Are the people you pull up from chat just chatters you want to have a conversation with, or just embarrassed?
Light-skinned Mexican
Both.
gets to be white is up to them. Whether or not you fit the definition of racist is not up to you. The boundaries are not policed from the inside.
So, okay. Going again from right to left, This is where we find the titular alt-right. What's novel about the suit and tie ethno-nationalist is how they break from the iconography of racism. Their goal, like that of many racist people, is to attack and oppress people of color, but in such a way that the white establishment lets them get away with it. The average white person's shorthand for a racist is still primarily the Klansman and the neo-Nazi, respectively a rural working-class white nationalism and an urban working-class white nationalism. The alt-right is the gentrification of white nationalism. Their pocket squares and MBAs and $90 haircuts short out the white moderate's brain because they still associate white supremacy with white trash. Racism is worse than evil. It's common. It's why they insist reactionary conservatism is propped up by the white working class in flyover states, despite all evidence to the contrary.
The alt-right can't be as bad as everyone says, because whoever heard of a racist going to Harvard?
The alt-right bridges the gap between white nationalism and the rest.
Only the top dog races go to Harvard, let's be real.
Of white culture,
like the
using
best
class
racists.
signifiers to gain access to the political and social capital of the more mainstream collaborator, and getting the moderate to treat them not as someone to be ignored, but someone to bargain with in good faith. The collaborator finds value in this relationship because, regardless of one's position on it, racism works. A police officer may not be personally racist, but when it's the end of the month and they need to hand out a few more tickets to make quota, it's safest to do so in a low-income neighborhood where the average driver can't make their life hell by hiring a lawyer. And due to decades of racist redlining, most low-income neighborhoods are disproportionately black and Latinx, so... And a prison warden.
No Latinx, he said Latinx.
Racist, but white people are approved by jury selection more often than people who think the justice system itself is racist, so black and Latina people are the easiest to jail, and private prisons get more funding when they're full, so... And a conservative politician may not be personally racist, but black and Latina people predominantly vote Democrat, and since they're disproportionately imprisoned, if the politician denies convicts the right to vote, they're more likely to get reelected, so...
I don't know whether the labor unions and their bosses really hate me. That doesn't matter, but I know I'm not in their unions. I don't know if the real estate lobby is anything against black people, but I know the real estate lobbies keep me in the ghetto. I don't know if the Board of Education hates black people, but I know the textbooks they give my children to read and the schools that we have to go to.
Now, frequently enough, these people are self-identified, card-carrying racists. My point is, for this system of incentives and rewards to operate, they don't have to be. Any of them may, but none of them must. Racism exists, and it's efficient. And in a capitalist society where cops are competing for promotions, private prisons are competing for contracts, and politicians are competing for votes, if an unethical behavior sees a higher return than the alternative, then ethics are a luxury. There are hundreds of examples of businesses that claim, in periods of prosperity, that they prefer to do what is right over what is profitable. But what do they say when prosperity ends? Every boom has a bust. Since 1900, the US has spent 1 out of every 4 years in recession. And in the lean season, not using...
Oh, I'm so glad I didn't ban this guy. This is a perfect example. How am I a pet now? Racist much? Everyone in this chat, you're being brainwashed. Hasan is a part of the FBI trial on Twitch to hypnotize the public. Come on. That's a fucking great chatter. This is why Twitch lowered y'all ad revenue. Twitch didn't lower the ad revenue. They lowered the sub revenue. At the top of the hour, there's still a 60-second ad break, though, until this month ends and my contract is over. And if you no longer want to see those ads at the top of the fucking hour, all you need to do is subscribe. Hasan Larker with a 20 gifted subs. Woo! At the top of the hour, there's a 6-second ad break. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can do for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, where you get 1 free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite broadcaster, me. Or you can get gifted a sub Like Matt NLT with a 5. Dylan is Unbreakable with a 5. Hassan Lurker with a 20. Like I said, that's 30. If you haven't gotten that, you're not going to get an ad break. I mean, you're not going to get a fucking gifted sub. Monty Gaming, thank you for the 5 gifted. Here's the 1 minute ad break now.
This generations old system built by white people to advantage their descendants is a liability. A values-based business typically goes one of 3 ways: compromising their values to stay competitive, getting bought by someone who compromised their values to stay competitive,
Twitch,
or sticking to their guns and facing a higher risk of going out of business. Many choose to do the right thing, and some even survive. But that's beating the odds. The market trends towards the optimal strategy. No one ever went broke appealing to the ignorance of white people. The collaborator treating non-white suffering as the cost of doing business also works rhetorically.
Another reason why it's dumb as fuck to be a grifter on the left, and that's why you see so many more grifters, if not all of them, on the right. Obama Beats Greek Kebab, thank you for the 5 gifted. Monty Gaming and Dr. Sleepy Fist 0, thank you for the 5 gifted.
The average conservative citizen doesn't know anything about the Syrian civil war, but they know the refugee crisis is something the left seems to care about. So demonizing refugees is mutually beneficial for pundits and politicians who want to rally their base by spiting liberals, and for white supremacists who want to mainstream racism against Arabs. The average conservative citizen doesn't understand epidemiology, but they don't want to blame their own party for letting 1 million die of COVID, so calling it the Chinese virus is mutually beneficial for pundits and politicians who want to deflect blame onto a foreign nation, and for white supremacists who want to mainstream racism against Asians. And yet, despite this blatancy in collaborating with white supremacists and having eerily similar goals to white supremacists, the collaborator insists that they are themselves non-racist. Their decades of opposing affirmative action, right to assembly, police reform, fair voting efforts, redistricting, funding for public schools, prisoners' rights, religious tolerance, shutting down Guantanamo, accessibility for non-English speakers, immigration, investment in low-income neighborhoods, decolonizing school curricula, Indigenous Peoples Day, putting Harriet Tubman on the 20, kneeling,
thank you for
ending
the 10
drug
gifted.
war, or withdrawing from the Middle East, are framed as problems of implementation. We agree with the aim of closing the racial wealth gap, just not like this.
Kind of racist? Wait, what the fuck do you mean it's kind of racist? This is literally the concept that MLK talked about with respect to the white moderate. He's quite literally describing what the white moderate, and I think he chose those words carefully. Like, he chose that context carefully to claim the white moderate.
Yes. We agree with the aim of Latin Americans entering the country, just not like this. We agree with the aim of peaceful protest, just not like this. And if we on the left are to ask, how exactly are we supposed to get this without this? Oh, coming up with that solution? That's our job. And if it's not getting done, it's because we haven't come up with a solution they like yet. And probably what they don't like about our solutions is that we implied the problem was racism. Yes, white people are overrepresented in dozens of industries nationwide, but have you considered that it's a fluke? Pitch me a solution.
Bro, you can't tell me there are plenty of grifters on the left. Look at Second Thought, for example. Man hasn't read a scrap of theory and only talks about culture war bullshit. But let me guess, you're giving JT a pass because he's lining your pockets with CIA and Nestle dollars. Fuck, we gotta ban this guy. He's on it. He's on it. He called us out, dude. No, take another second off. He's still talking. Still chatting. Fuck. Shit. I'm trying to silence him, and it's too hard.
For it being a fluke. The collaborators' white supremacy exists in the negative space. They agree racism exists. They agree we should oppose it. But they disagree that any individual thing you're talking about is an example of it. Getting a Republican to identify an actual incident of systemic racism is like trying to point at your shadow with a flashlight. And it's reasonable to ask, Jesus, how far can these guys push the envelope before the rest of the establishment calls them what they are? But if you're waiting for the moment a white moderate agrees mainstream conservatism has done something unacceptably and unequivocally racist, you're underestimating how long white people can equivocate. There's a lot to say about the white moderate, and I'm about to be that lefty who expends as many words complaining about liberals as he does fascists, but look, as much as this series is about the tactics of the far right, it is at least as much about how the center-left is susceptible to them and complicit. So, okay, when a Democrat loses an election, what happens with the white liberal pundit class? Well, there's suddenly a lot of chatter about how to talk to your racist uncle over Thanksgiving, about how liberals in red states can contact their representatives, about the value of debate. This is our fault, they say. We let this happen because
Dude, you're going to spirited debate you're going to spirited debate your fucking family members into not being racist. Is such a funny take from predominantly white liberals that unironically have never had a Thanksgiving with family members that just straight up will never have that conversation. Like, it's just like, it's like people who live in fucking New Hampshire and have relatives that are all just as liberal as they are. So they just don't understand it. It's like, dude, you could try to have that conversation. And I joke about it. I meme about it. Like, yeah, own your cousins and uncles in the marketplace of ideas and debate for Thanksgiving because I like to see chaos. And I think it's funny and it's good content. But it's just not going to happen. You're not going to be able to do that. Okay? Because it's like an intrinsic part of their existence. A lot of these values are incredibly well defined, and you learn about them from as early as like your first year of life, your first year of existence. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen. You cannot, without material restitution, you're not going to be able to actually legitimately change people's minds one person at a time. Even if you're able to change people's minds one person at a time, you're still not going to be able to enact systemic change.
We didn't have enough conversations with white conservatives. You hear a lot more of that talk than about how the gutting of the Voting Rights Act
Like, I know people that were at January 6th, okay? Not like directly and immediately, but I know people that went to January 6th. If you try to have a conversation with them about January 6th, to this day, they say Antifa was responsible for January 6th. It's like, bro, you were there. What the fuck do you mean Antifa is responsible? Like, you were there. Yeah, but Antifa did the whole bad stuff. We did the good stuff. So it's like, good luck. Good luck to changing that person's mind. Okay?
Cost a lot of the left the right to vote, and what could be done to guarantee their representation in the next election. In fact, you hear a lot more about how that kind of talk is alienating to the white conservatives who supported gutting the Voting Rights Act. About how reaching across the aisle is going to mean easing off the race talk, at least for now. POC representation is quickly reframed as a critical long-term goal, but in the present moment, while we are competing for elected office, guaranteeing the minority vote is a luxury. What's prioritized is that the people who suppressed the black vote in order to win elections not be made to feel that they are
Rogo
racist.
Kuguchi, thank
because,
you.
I mean, what if they genuinely
Falco,
believe the Voting Rights
Attila,
Act unfairly
and Eden the
targets
Cat, thank you for the
southern
5
states? Or even if, and I'm saying if here, they did do it to suppress votes. If hurting black people isn't their goal and they're just trying to win elections, is that really racist? Moderates are very cagey about breaking out the R word for a fellow white person. See, there's this other definition of racism that most white people learn in grade school. Racism is when you say mean things to other kids about skin color and it hurts their feelings.
Which is why there's such a thing as anti-white racism, according to Twitch. Which is why I was banned for 7 fucking days off this godforsaken platform for saying the C word by a community of people, guided by a community of people that manufactured outrage enough that Twitch would fucking literally ban me. I will never let that go. It is so fucking abysmally stupid.
Racism is about cruelty, And harm done by white people, therefore, is not racism if it isn't cruel, if it's merely ignorant or apathetic. But ignorance and apathy can be reasoned with. You just gotta sit down and hash it out, as long as it takes. Real white supremacy is about emotional distress or interpersonal violence. It's uncommon, it's unpopular, and it's a hearts and minds issue. What this definition leaves out is any notion that white supremacy is about power. That white people who disavow racism still live longer, get paid better, get arrested less often, and
Thank
are
you,
typically
Mama
in position to negotiate with
for the tank
whomever's
episodes.
in power. That this society was built for the everyman, and being the everyman confers power upon you. When children of white moderates get older and first...
Yeah, it's not. My racism knows no bounds. First, it was against white people. Then it was against the slave owners that escaped Cuba during the Cuban Revolution. And now my racism knows no bounds. Apparently, Italians can get some too. Where the fuck is it? I saw someone was talking about it earlier. I'm surprised it's not up still. I guess they took it down. Oh, here it is. Oh, never mind. Someone re-uploaded it, but they took it down for politics. Thank God. But it was I was racist against Italians.
Brush
and
up.
people literally were trying to take it seriously. Like there were people who were joking and and it was mostly a joke. And then there were people who were like, yeah, we got it.
Against this definition, wherein white supremacy is not small, but all-encompassing, where it can be cruel, but is at least as often indifferent, and where every white person in the country is bound up in it and privileged by it, whether they want to be or not, and will never, ever experience it themselves, where it's not about feelings, but about power. How often do they say, oh, maybe the definition I grew up with was simplified for 9-year-olds? Or, oh, maybe the definition given to me by white grown-ups was less complete than one a black grown-up might have given? And how often do they say, you can't just redefine racism? Right out the gate, the white moderate is possessive not just of their whiteness, but of the very definition of racism. In the definition they know, racism exists only over here. And the white collaborator is a compatriot who shares their ultimate vision for the future and is simply gone off course somewhere. And they don't see themselves as flawed individuals with a long way still to go. They've already arrived. They're the destination everyone else needs to get to. Living proof that white supremacy can be easily and painlessly opted out of. They can't see collaborators as opponents because there is no definition of white supremacy that includes collaborators and doesn't also include them. And this is critically important. They don't want to start thinking of themselves as white. They don't want the constant awareness of one's race and how one's race is perceived. You know, the things the rest of humanity deals with. And who would want that? I'll tell you who wants that. Nazis and Klansmen want that. They're the only ones who like thinking about whiteness every day. So white moderates cling to the other definition, the comfortable one. They may be more or less willing to collaborate with people of color, but mostly in ways that don't foreground their whiteness. White as default is one concession that can never be made, in part because it's the one that can't be spoken. Their ideal is a kind of big tent anti-racism, where victory comes by winning over reactionary conservatives. That might strike you as odd, given that reactionary conservatives have seen many victories over the last 20 years, and it's not like they did it by winning over us. White supremacists bolster their numbers by finding little disgruntled pockets of America that have not heretofore engaged much in politics, and radicalizing them to the cause, and then pitching themselves to white collaborators as a demographic now large enough to sway a narrow election. If moderates wanted to counter this strategy, they might look at who out there is sympathetic to progressive causes but isn't voting. Maybe because they don't feel liberal candidates represent them. Or maybe because someone just happened to shut down all the polling locations in their neighborhood. And, you know, mathematically, There's probably a lot more disenfranchised people of color who match that description than racist white people who aren't already Republicans. But that strategy would mean doubling down on anti-racist talking points instead of easing off of them. It would mean a willingness to alienate some white people. It's giving up on them.
And white people vote. And if you want black people and people of color in general and poor people to vote, then you got to make it easier for them to vote, which in turn is an entirely difficult endeavor to accomplish. So you don't want to do that. So you just play with an ever shrinking base of like suburban voters that might go to Obama, but then they're going to go to Trump, but then maybe they'll come back from Trump to Joe Biden. And those are like the main people that change the political dynamic. It's like in total, it's probably like 100,000 people to 200, 300,000 people that shift their votes that you need to like hyper focus on and hyper target. And that's American politics, baby.
It's admitting that a significant percentage of American whiteness is not on the side of racial equity. It means there's a definition of racism where it isn't fringe, but common and pervasive, and where addressing it requires thinking about their place in it. It means asking why they feel more affinity for white people who oppose them than people of color they claim to agree with.
Muffin Monstar and Shush Jordan, thank you for the 10 gifted subs.
Why the votes of the former have to be earned, but the latter are expected. And since all that seems intolerable, they fixate on the kinds of gestures that feel like moving in the right direction, but run very little risk of arriving anywhere. How about instead of defunding the police, we give them more money than any administration in years, but also Juneteenth is a national holiday now. Something for everyone. The left has the numbers to leave behind white centrists who slow down anti-racist efforts. And it doesn't, because white moderates don't want to. They and the white collaborators are supposed to be in this together. And they are, just not in the way they think. The irony is that the right feels no affinity for white moderates whatsoever. They hate, and I mean hate, white moderates. Smug pricks always talking about unity whenever they win an election. Reach across the aisle? That's what you say when you've lost and you want the other guys to make concessions they don't have to make. You don't do it when you're in power. Are they trying to humiliate us, or did we really lose to a bunch of clowns who don't even know how to win right? Debasing themselves in front of minorities just to get their votes when they clearly aren't going to do anything real for them? Christ, at least the white supremacists are honest. The right will threaten POC sometimes just to call the white moderates bluff. Racism must be understood as more than a set of individual beliefs and feelings, but as a tool for achieving political ends. First and foremost, because claiming otherwise is both factually and morally wrong, but also,
with that emoji.
Without this understanding, white culture can't recognize the stakes. Fascism exists in a state of permanent conflict. Things like declaring an indefinite state of martial law, suspending elections, or executing members of government are justified on the grounds that the people are in danger and need to be...
From a they. And they could be international financial speculators. They could be any given George Soros, any number of different demons that are responsible. And of course, the main demon is never capitalism. It's never the system that has subjected you to so much oppression and cruelty for no reason other than the underlying profit motive, right? And there's always a they. There will always be a they. If there isn't a they that you can tangibly associate with, they'll make up a they.
Protected and mobilized. Now, this isn't unique to fascism. Between the Cold War, the war on drugs, and the war on terror, the US has been in some form of ongoing conflict for the last 3 generations. But you'll note the Cold War didn't end on a battlefield. It ended when the Soviet Union collapsed in on itself. Communism, terrorism, and drug dealing are patterns of behavior, and they wax and wane, often for reasons outside our control. geopolitics may someday shift such that terrorism becomes less prevalent, or that lowers the demand for drugs.
Matt Chrisman had a really interesting take on this that I literally DM'd him over afterwards. I was listening to like one of the Chapo episodes where he was talking about the Beltway Garage, doing analysis with Dave Weigel, formerly of Washington Post, friend of the show, Dave Weigel. And he said something really interesting. He was like, if you were to tell me that in 2022 there would be a Sunni Muslim candidate with a good shot at winning a Pennsylvania Senate seat, where inside of that never-ending back and forth, inside of that political struggle, they never brought up the fact that he's a Muslim, I would have looked at you like you're out of your fucking mind. And it's truly a demonstrable example that the war on terror was such a gigantic fucking failure that they don't even talk about it anymore. And even Oz is not a Muslim man, come on. No, dude, you don't understand Americans, baby. You're crazy. You are very far removed from the concept of Islam or living as a Muslim or being even Muslim fucking adjacent in the United States of America. Okay? Or maybe you guys are literally fucking Zoomers and you don't understand. They called Obama a Muslim, man. His middle name is Hussein. No shot. His name is Mehmet, which is a Turkish version of Muhammad. Okay? It's too close. Are you out of your fucking mind, dude? Are you insane? That race happening in like 2007, literally, they're like, your ties to terrorists are very known. It's very well known. You're a radical Islamist terrorist. Why won't Dr. Oz denounce radical Islamist terror? What ended up happening is that the war on terror was such a fucking gigantic L that the Republicans have now completely, they've moved on to the new enemy. The new enemy is gender panic. The new enemy is family values. Like, not even Republicans, just like American politicians in general. Hillary Clinton, when running against Barack fucking Obama, literally is the first person that said he might be Muslim. Many of you Zoomers don't even know this. Hillary Clinton's team was responsible for that photo coming out of Obama wearing the turban, head wrap. Yeah. Y'all don't know your American contemporary political history. That's why you come to me. I'm telling you. This notion that a Sunni Muslim Turkish man would be running on the fucking Republican ticket in a place like Pennsylvania that's like swinging towards Republican seats. Holy shit, dude. Y'all are crazy. Yeah, Clinton aides claim Obama photo wasn't intended as a smear. Look at that. Come on. Come on now. Now, of course, they don't do that line as much anymore, but if you still have like very obviously Muslim candidates, very obviously Muslim politicians like Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar, who their very existence in Congress implies that the war on terror rhetoric is like kind of a dud now. People don't really give a shit. They don't want to think about it because it's a loss. Okay? They still weaponize it against them, right? Someone said, "Oh my God, he actually Muslim. What the fuck?" What? No, he's not, man. What? My man, that was not the intended purpose of me showing you that photo. That's hilarious, dude. Someone just went, that's a 14-year-old piece of agitprop, and someone just fell for it, dude. Got him. Sorry.
Communism can be fought with diplomacy and economic sanctions because communists can choose not to be communist anymore. And fascists have no use for soft power. To justify a military dictatorship, they need an opponent that won't just go away on its own one day. It always comes back to identity politics, because black people can't stop being black. Theirs is a number that will not be reduced without the hard power of violence and displacement. Fascism begins by stealing targets from the left. They focus on elites, corrupt businessmen, weak-willed politicians, subtly shifting focus away from leftist critique of systems to types of people. But sooner or later, they settle on something unchangeable: race, gender, ethnicity, religious background. The bigotry is localized to the region's existing prejudices. In Nazi Germany, it was Jews, Jehovah's Witnesses, Roma, Slavs, black people, queer people, and people with disabilities. In fascist Italy, it was Slovenes, until Mussolini invaded Libya and Ethiopia, and so demonized their citizens as well. In the US, the Klan and the American Nazi Party targeted African Americans, Jews, Catholics, queer people, and immigrants. Spain under Franco tried to determine the exact racial makeup of the Spanish people so they could cast out those with the wrong mixture of bloods. This is why the far right has gone all in on transphobia, by the way. Like, it's joined Islamophobia on the outer rim of acceptable bigotries. On some level, they know trans folks aren't just cis people in disguise, that desistance is rare and conversion therapy doesn't work, because if trans people could just stop being trans, they never would have picked them for an enemy. This is where it starts. This is why you should have no patience for anyone saying wokeness is dividing the left. We should be focusing on class. They're not attacking us on class. They're trying to sell themselves as better on class than we are. Where do you think that fairy tale about blue-collar whites comes from? They want you to believe that they, and not the socialists, are the path.
Which is hilarious. Like, I love this so much because it's like, and there are so many fucking, like, reactionary podcasters that started off as leftists that fall into this, which is so fucking awesome. It's like the only tangible quality of the working class is just that they're racist. Like, which of course implies that there are no trans people in the working class. There are no black people in the working class. Like, it's just a hyper-specific subsect of working class that is, out of work coal miners. Okay? And that's it. The only people that are working class are like the out of work coal miners that are only white, not any of the other races. Okay? Only white out of work coal miners who are racist themselves. That is the only fucking person that has ever held a job in the United States of America that was a real fucking job. That's it. And the more racist you are, the more you say, the N-word or whatever the fuck you want to say, the more working class you are. That's why this distinction is so fucking idiotic in America. It's like so, like the concept of a proletarian is so washed in and shrouded in mystery that, like, the only way to sift through that adequately is by just saying the closer you are in proximity to a type of job where you're working in a fucking oil refinery or a coal mine, the more working class you are. Anyone else is not working class. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was a fucking barback, okay? But because she's a woman and she's Latina and she's from New York, she was never seen as a working class individual. And as a matter of fact, her working class background was seen as an own, as a diss, they kept saying she was fucking a loser. Whereas Ted Theodore Jebediah Bourgeois went to fucking Harvard Cruz was always seen working class. Like, even people like him, they never consider him to be anything but like a real American, a working class American. Why? Because he puts the snakeskin boots on, he's got a big belt buckle, and he says he's from Texas. That's it. Is this working class? The fuck is this?
Yes, sir. Hey, how you doing? Hey, sorry to bother you. I'm Fernando. I work with Peak Energy. We're a few doors down. We're in 1845. Okay. So we do solar around here. We're just coming around talking to niggers. Sorry, dude. Neighbors. I apologize, man. I know. No, man, that wasn't even...
Now, Fernando right there, that's working class right there. That's a working class man. His working class power level is so high. That's not going to look good on Yelp. Bro thought he was in a COD lobby, dude. That's crazy.
Forward for the downtrodden. There's a reason fascism started popping up all over Europe right after the Russian Revolution. Mussolini got his start beating up socialists in the Po Valley on the grounds that he was defending not wealthy elites, but struggling rural farmers who didn't like the socialist takeover of their industry during the Biennio Rosso. The fascist goal is to harness and redirect class resentment towards a scapegoat. They come at us on identity. It always comes down to the shape of the human skull. When a provocateur shows up on a college campus to talk about ideas, it's not a debate. There's no special sequence of words that will defeat them. This is a show of dominance. They are presenting themselves as white compatriots to be reasoned with, rather than agents of white supremacy to be opposed. In that framing, the stakes are attention, the weapons are words, and people of color are not players but tokens on a white person's game board. And they are checking whether you will submit to that structure. They don't care about ideas. They care about power. And power is what beats them. They tell you 400 people showing up to protest is just free news coverage. But when 4,000 show up, they cancel. That's power. And in absolute numbers, most events, they can't rustle up 4,000 supporters. But we can, provided cishet non-disabled white dude lefties like myself haven't told all the right's biggest targets that their struggles don't matter. And it's worth mentioning, cops fuck with protesters less when some of them are white. It's also worth mentioning racism affects 58% of the working poor, so there can be no class solidarity that doesn't address it. This isn't who needs to win. This is who needs to win. And if you're white, you need to be over here. I've collected as many resources as I can find by POC on what they need and want from white allies, and put them in the down there part. There's a plurality of opinions on this, so I recommend reading more than one, and it may not always be a 4,000 strong protest. Every direct action is unique, and must be strategized in concert with the people most affected. But what I can tell you is, when business gets done, white folks need to split the check. A movement cannot be anti-fascist if it isn't anti-racist.
That was great. That's the Alt-Right Playbook, The Cost of Doing Business by Innuendo Studios. He makes wonderful videos like this. I recommend every single part of his Alt-Right Playbook. Very good videos overall. Big fan.